On the surface, farms seem quiet, peaceful, but out here, far from neighbors and far from help, when something goes wrong, you're on your own. This is the creepiest farm story I've ever heard. It begins with strange noises in the night and ends with something far more terrifying. What was hiding in the cornfield that summer still hasn't been explained. And if you think you know what's out there in the dark, this story just might change your mind. Last summer, I went out to my grandfather's place to help him out for a week or so. He was running short on workers, and I thought it'd be good for me to pitch in. See, I grew up visiting that farm every summer, but this time it kind of felt different. My grandfather seemed more tired than usual, more watchful. He carried his shotgun more than I seem to remember too. Even when he was just checking fences, he had it with him. At first, everything seemed normal. Long days of hard work, sweating in the sun, moving hay bales, tending the livestock, cutting through the rows of corn with the old tractor. I liked the quiet. I liked the smell of the cut grass, the sound of the crickets at night. But on the third day, one of the hired hands, he came back from the fields in a panic. He said something had chased him through the corn. He didn't see it, but he heard it. He heard this heavy pounding of footsteps right on his heels, he said. And a sound he said he'd never forget. A deep kind of grunt and growl that scared him half to death. He swore it wasn't a coyote or a wolf. My grandfather and we grabbed the shotguns and we went out checking row after row. We found nothing, just silence. He told me the worker was probably scared of his own shadow. Probably just a stray dog running behind him. Could have been maybe just his imagination too, he thought. But I could see it in my grandfather's face. He didn't believe his own words. That night, I was woke up by a noise outside the farmhouse. It wasn't a coyote's yipping either. It wasn't a cow bellowing, but it was something else. It was a long, low, rumbling, grunt kind of growl, deep and unnatural. It came from somewhere near the barn, I thought. I was scared. I laid there, clutching my sheets, too terrified to even look out the window. When the sun came up, I forced myself to go look. I ran out behind the barn. In the soft dirt, I saw tracks. Not paw prints, not boots, but human footprints. Dozens of them, pressing into the ground, leading out towards the cornfield. I didn't mention it to the workers. I only told my grandfather. When I did, his jaw tightened. He told me not to worry about it, but he made me carry a shotgun in the tractor after that. Later that afternoon, while I was plowing our field, I saw something. A figure, tall and quick, running out of the corn into the woods. At first I thought it was some thief stealing corn. I jumped down and gave chase. I should never have gone after him. The woods behind the farm had always felt strange, like they were too quiet. But that day, I found something I can never erase from my memory. There was a clearing, and in the clearing was a kind of strange camp. Animal skulls hanging everywhere, old metal cups, cracked bowls, glass jars scattered in the dirt, many painted with crude red symbols, a massive fire pit set in the middle, still warm with ashes piled high. I saw bones, long, blackened bones that were not from any animal that I recognized. I was still staring when I realized I wasn't alone. From the trees, a figure stepped out. He wore a black robe and a mask, handmade and jagged, something between a skull and an animal's face. He didn't speak. He just let out this awful, grunting growl noise, the same one I heard the night before. And then he lifted a machete. Then another appeared, and another, until there were at least 6 or 7 of them surrounding me, each dressed in black, each wearing a mask, each holding a machete. I don't even remember my legs moving, just the sound of them chasing me, hooting and howling, growling. The crunch of leaves and branches snapping behind me. It was chaos. Inhuman noises all around me, like they were trying to drive me mad. When I burst out of the woods and into the open field, I didn't stop until I was in the tractor. I fired the engine up and glanced back. They were there, at the edge of the trees, standing tall and silent, watching. I fired the shotgun twice into the air. The sound, it echoed across the fields. They didn't even move. I drove back to the house, shaking so badly I could barely steer the tractor. When I told my grandfather, he didn't hesitate. He called the police. They came, and I took them to the clearing, but when we got there, everything was gone. The skulls, the bowls, the bones, all of it. The fire pit was scrubbed clean, just cold coals left behind. But the trees, they still had the marks on them, painted with red symbols. Kinda like something straight out of a nightmare. The police, they searched the surrounding woods and the country for 5-6 days. They found nothing. No camps, no men in masks, no footprints, just the silence. My grandfather, he doesn't talk about it much, but he doesn't go out into the fields unarmed anymore either. And he's lined the barns and the house with security cameras everywhere. As for me, I never went back up to the farm, just too scared. Whatever was in those woods, it wasn't just trespassers. It was organized. It was real. I believe it was the ritual. Some kind of cult. And I don't think they ever really left either. Some stories never really end. They just wait for the next person to stumble across them. If you want to hear what comes next, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. You never know. The next story just might be yours.